We're going to talk about the latest news and rumors for you folks today. In this video, we're going to be talking about the two signings that we did last night. We signed a corner and we signed a linebacker. What does it mean for the depth of those positions for this team? What does it mean for the NFL draft and free agency? Also, we're going to be talking about how Matt Ryan got traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Does that affect the Lions with a new trade partner potentially in the NFL draft? Arden Key update, latest on free agency and NFL draft. But before we get into today's video, if you think it's a real sound idea to wrap rope around your hands, attach it to a limb of a tree, become a human piñata, and give your kids a metal bat to swing to get the candy out of you, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel because we talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. Sometimes being a Lions fan, you can get beat up. Also, make sure you take that like button, stuff it in your shirt so when the kids beat you up, the like button gets crushed and falls out as well. Let's get into today's Lions news and rumors.
It's LeGarrette Blount here, man, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I just want to give you a shout out to the YouTube channel, MicroMike, man.
Hey, Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch MicroMike on YouTube.
Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron. Big shout out to MicroMike and YouTube channel, man.
Keep on talking everything Detroit Lions, and I just got to remind you, man, happy wife, happy life.
The Lions signed linebacker Chris Board, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, last night. And what does that mean for the Detroit Lions' depth? What does it mean for the NFL draft? Well, let's go ahead and look at the stats to kind of determine that. Last year, we're looking at stats that are not that great, folks. 18 solo tackles, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. Mike, why would they sign a guy with such bad stats? Why are they signing this guy? Well, it's a depth player, folks. He is not a guy that's going to be starting, in my opinion. Also, he can contribute on special teams. That's where most of his time was at. So, in effect, he'll kind of be the Jalen Reeves Maven of special teams. Nothing really more, nothing really less. And if we have injuries, he could be a guy that comes in. It means absolutely nothing changing the plans of the NFL draft. I do believe that the Detroit Lions are still going to draft a linebacker fairly high in the draft to really solidify the core. He's not going to be a guy, speaking of Chris, that's going to be a main individual, just a guy to help out. But let me know in the comment section right now, with the two signings that we did get, grade those signings, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think. Yes, and put in a summary if you want to in the comment section. That will be the pinned comment of this video. The Detroit Lions also signed a cornerback, Mike Hughes, from the Kansas City Cheifs. Actually, he's a former first-round pick. He also was formerly with the Minnesota Vikings. Let's look at him a little bit more here. Look at his stats here. It's actually not that bad. 40 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 1 interception, 6 pass defense. Mike Hughes is going to be a depth player for sure, but he's also going to be an individual, I think, that could actually contribute a little bit more than Board. Why? Because he has starting experience. He actually did really good in Kansas City when he was on the field. The issue with Hughes is something that we've been detailing on this channel for some time, injuries. And if you look at the defensive backs for the Detroit Lions, a lot of injuries. Jeffrey Okudah got injured. We're talking about Melifonwu got injured. We're talking about Jerry Jacobs got injured. Injury. So they're looking to get a veteran player on a cheap deal to throw in and potentially get a diamond in the rough like we did with Charles Harris last year. It's not that big of a deal for me that they're going veteran route and getting a guy. He's young too, 25 veteran. We're not talking about old. Because we do need depth. Depth players I'm perfectly fine with. I'm not a big fan of taking injury-prone players. That is going to be an issue. But if it works out, it'd be really good for the Lions. If it doesn't work out, it's not that big of a deal. So it's a low risk, high reward, in my opinion, from that side. What about Arden Key, the individual we brought in yesterday for a look at? He left Detroit. He is visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is an edge that could help out the Detroit Lions, getting after the quarterback. We're always looking for edge help. He is a guy that is younger, that is long, and he really showed out last year. So is he actually going to come to the Detroit Lions? Well, just because he left, it doesn't necessarily mean he won't become a Detroit Lion. Mike Garafolo says, another visit with defensive line Arden Key. He's meeting with the Jacksonville Jaguars today, source says. Sounds like the Lions are still very much in play, but Key is talking his pre-planned visits. And that's what it's all about. He's taking his time, taking his pre-planned visits, looking at every situation. What is best for him? What is going to give him the best opportunity potentially to play, as well as thrive in the position where he's at? I have no problem with that, and I think it's really also important for the Detroit Lions not to worry and just jump on every single player and throw out big-time contracts like the Jacksonville Jaguars, because eventually it will come back to haunt you. We've seen it a million times with Trey Flowers. We've seen it in the past, and that's just something that occurs quite a bit. Folks, let me know in the comment section right now, do you want the Detroit Lions to trade out of the second pick in the NFL draft? Why for yes and for no? That's going to be another comment for this video. If so, what is the farthest you would trade to? Would you go, mid-teens? Would you just go a couple spots? And what team would you trade with? Let's turn this into a conversation. That's what this channel is all about. Having what you guys, your input in there, and letting everyone know what you guys think. Lions free agency. Yes, Lions free agency has been bored, like Chris Board. It's been a little bit boring. But according to Legacy Media, they're actually giving the Lions a positive grade here, not going crazy with big-time splashes, spending a lot of money, being even keel, and sitting back and being fiscally responsible. I think that's okay. I have no problem with that. It's always important to be fiscally responsible. I have no problem with them giving us a positive grade, but we still have major holes to fill. I think they're still going to look potentially to get a safety at some point and add them to this team because we need quite a bit of depth there. And I think at that point, they're just going to go ahead and kind of really get after the draft and just focus on the draft from there. We still have some big needs, and I think if you look towards the NFL draft, from what we've seen in free agency, safety, we're definitely probably going to take one really high. Linebacker as well. Those positions, I think, is going to be addressed fairly quick in the 2022 NFL draft. And with they could go edge with the second pick. They may just go Kyle Hamilton there and take the safety. So we still have needs. We still have depth issues. And I think the bigger names that we see, the bigger splashes, is simply just going to be the NFL draft at this point, building the correct way and being honest with oneself, understanding that this team is not going to the Super Bowl next year from a Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell perspective. But what about potentially a trade down scenario? The Atlanta Falcons traded Matt Ryan away to the Indianapolis Colts. You say, why does that have effect on us at all? Why do we care what the Atlanta Falcons is doing? Because now they need a young quarterback. Now, they did sign Marcus Mariota. We all know he's not the future of that team. They're going to be looking quarterback in the NFL draft. I read an article today, a trade down scenario for the Detroit Lions to the Atlanta Falcons. I want to see what you guys think about this one here. So the Lions would trade out of 2. We get the 8th pick. We'd get the 43rd pick in the second round, and we'd get a 2023 first-round pick. You'd have 3 first-round picks next year, so if they decided not to go to quarterback this year, you have the ability to trade up. You have the ammunition to get a future quarterback if that's the route you want to go. And if you do trade from 2 to 8, you still have opportunity to get quality talent. Now, I did mock draft simulators. Trayvon Walker was falling to 8. I think you'll have a pass rusher there. It's very possible that maybe even a Kayvon Thibodeau would fall to 8. That would be a great value. So you're still getting top-tier talent, and you're getting 2 more picks with it. And if you're in the second round this year, you get a player like a Christian Harris at the 43rd pick. A lot of talent in this year's draft, so you'd have still 2 first picks this year, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks to really beef up this team. I think that's an option that we could look at. I think the Atlanta Falcons are really looking to get a quarterback in this year's draft, and they could be a little bit aggressive to do so. But they're not the only team that the Detroit Lions could look to in the NFL draft. Some of these teams here need help at quarterback and offensive line. New York Jets and Giants, they could trade up to get an offensive lineman. Maybe they want to get Ikem Ekwonu or Neal. Beef up that offensive line. They could trade up a couple spots. But the two teams here, Carolina Panthers, they're desperate to get a quarterback. Absolutely desperate. I think them and the Atlanta Falcons are going to compete, and they may have a single quarterback on their mind, and they're going to want to get it. That is great news for the Detroit Lions. We want these two teams to get a quarterback. We want them to forcefully get one to really help this team out. That's what happens when they compete. We have a chance to win off that deal and trade back. So definitely look for these two teams there, I think, to be the most aggressive. But what's also a good way to be aggressive is to go to LionsNationUnite.com, download the app Lions Nation Unite. A very good app. It's like a Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter all in one for Detroit Lions fans. It's made by Herman Moore to give back to the fans. You can also follow them on Twitter, Lions Nation U, and I am on there making videos, MicroMike. So follow me on there so we can get the latest news and rumors regarding our Detroit Lions. Folks, in the upcoming videos, we got videos dropped tomorrow. On Thursday, Tom Downey from Chat Sports is going to be on there talking some Detroit Lions NFL draft and free agency, the needs that we need, and talking everything that we can about what to expect potentially for the Detroit Lions going forward for this draft in the upcoming season. Also, on Saturday, we have the mailbag video, the best questions from OPP, gets thrown on there, and you guys get to have fun seeing the reaction to what took place there. But before I let you go, make sure you guys hit that notification bell. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let's get to 300 likes in this video. And with that said, folks, adios.